It was just another bright, polished evening on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, the kind of night where everything seemed scripted to perfection, every punchline timed, every camera cut seamless. The audience was buzzing as the announcer boomed, "Please welcome, Mark Wahlberg." The actor stepped onto the stage with confident swagger, wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit, white shirt slightly unbuttoned, and that unmistakable smirk that had made him a star across genres, from action flicks to heartfelt dramas. Jimmy greeted him with his usual enthusiasm, a high five that turned into a half hug. "The man, the myth, the abs," Fallon joked, prompting cheers and laughter from the crowd. Wahlberg gave a modest shrug and sat down, leaning back in his chair like he owned the place. "Mark, you've been everywhere lately," Fallon began. "You've got a new movie, a gym chain, a burger joint. What don't you do?" Wahlberg chuckled. "Sleep. That's about it. I'm up at 4 a.m. every day, hitting the weights, doing my thing." They bantered for a while, with Jimmy pulling up old throwback photos of Mark during his Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch days. "Look at that pose. That's Calvin Klein royalty right there," Fallon laughed, zooming in on a photo of a shirtless, ripped Wahlberg from the 90s. Mark smiled, but there was a flicker of something, maybe annoyance or fatigue. "Yeah, that's ancient history, man. We gonna talk about the new film or just my underwear?" Fallon laughed a little too hard, trying to glide past the tension. "You know I had to go there. It's in the contract," he joked. But then, Fallon couldn't resist poking the bear. "I mean, you've had such a wild career, man. From rapper, to underwear model, to, what was it, The Happening?" he teased, raising his eyebrows. "You've really done it all, huh?" The crowd chuckled, and Fallon leaned in with his signature grin, clearly thinking it was all fun and games. But Mark didn't smile. Instead, he tilted his head slightly and gave Fallon a slow, tight-lipped stare. "You still hosting, huh?" Mark said evenly. Jimmy blinked, caught off guard. Yeah, every weeknight." "Why?" Mark sat forward, elbows on knees, voice lower now. "Just wondering how many seasons you can keep this going. Pretending to laugh at stuff you don't think is funny. That's talent." The audience laughed, but it was nervous laughter. Fallon tried to diffuse. "Come on, Mark. We're just having some fun here." "Yeah," Mark replied. "Except I don't show up here to be clowned." Fallon's eyes darted toward the cameras, then to his producers off stage. He tried to laugh it off, shifting in his chair. All right, the gloves are off. I like it. This is what late night needs, some fire." But Wahlberg didn't back down. He gave a sharp laugh. "Let's be honest. This isn't late night anymore. This is soft TV for people who want to feel edgy without ever being uncomfortable." The room went quiet for a moment. Fallon's smile dropped a fraction. "You've, been working on that new action film, right?" he asked, reaching for a lifeline. Mark leaned back again, nodding slowly. "Yeah, real dialogue, real people, not cue cards and fake laughs." The air had shifted. People weren't sure if this was a bit, or something unraveling live. Fallon's signature confidence started to slip. He looked toward the band, thinking maybe they'd play him out of this awkward segment, but they held their instruments, waiting. The energy in the room was electric but uneasy. Jimmy gave one more try. "You know I love you, man. I mean, I even watched Max Payne twice." Mark's jaw tightened. "Yeah, and I bet you laughed both times too." Ouch. Fallon sat silently for a second too long, eyes flicking to the camera, then to the control room. Beyond it, he tried one final smile. We're gonna take a quick break, folks, and when we come back, Mark's gonna tell us about punching aliens in his new movie. Don't go anywhere. The screen faded to black, but the tension was still hanging in the air, and the real story hadn't even started yet. As the show cut to commercial, the camera lights dimmed and the studio's atmosphere dropped from showbiz sparkle to something cold and uncomfortable. The house band quietly put down their instruments. The audience murmured, unsure whether what they'd just witnessed was scripted. Jimmy sat still for a second, his usual bright energy drained. He glanced off stage, motioning for someone. A producer rushed over with a clipboard and whispered, "Do we cut the next segment or?" Mark Wahlberg was already standing up, tugging slightly at his suit jacket, his face a mixture of irritation and something deeper, maybe disappointment. He looked down at Fallon. "This is the problem with Hollywood now, Jimmy. Everything's fake smiles and pretend jokes. It's not entertainment anymore. It's noise." Jimmy blinked. "Mark, come on. We're on live TV. Let's just cool down, do the next bit." But Wahlberg cut him off. "Nah, man. I'm done pretending this is fun." He turned to the audience, who were watching in stunned silence. "Look, I get it. You're here for laughs. You wanna feel like you're hanging out with celebrities. But ask yourself, when's the last time anyone said anything real on this stage?" A few awkward claps started, then quickly died down. Jimmy stood now too, a little too fast, trying to take control of the moment. "All right, we're gonna reset, folks. Live TV, right? Sometimes things get a little spicy." He forced a laugh, looking toward the control room window as if begging for a signal. Mark stepped closer. "No reset. Not this time." His voice wasn't raised, but it was cuttingly clear. "You invited me here. You made fun of my work. You tried to laugh it off when I pushed back. And now you wanna reset." Fallon took a breath, gripping the edge of his desk. "We roast each other all the time, man. That's the gig. You've been in this business long enough to know that. But you're not roasting," Mark replied, eyes narrowing. "You're hiding. Behind the desk. Behind the cue cards. Behind fake laughs. You're not in the moment. You're managing it." The audience was frozen. No laughter now, just the buzz of people realizing this was no sketch. Fallon's producers were frantically gesturing to the floor manager to go to another break or switch segments. But Mark wasn't done. "You know what's crazy?" he said, gesturing around. "This show used to matter. Late night hosts used to challenge people, speak truth, push boundaries. You're just here doing karaoke with celebrities and lip-syncing dogs." Fallon gave a tight smile. "You've clearly got something to say, so go ahead, man. Say it." "I just did," Wahlberg said flatly. "And I don't need to be part of this machine anymore." With that, he turned and began walking off stage. Crew members scrambled to follow, trying to redirect him toward the back exit. A few shouted after him, "Mark, we still have the interview." Another called, "Do you want to plug the movie at least?" He didn't even look back. "People know where to find it. They don't need me pretending to laugh next to Jimmy Fallon to prove it's real." Back on stage, Fallon was trying to regroup. He smoothed his blazer, looked directly into the main camera, and gave a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Well, folks, that was unexpected. We're gonna, pivot to something a little more fun. Stick around, we've got a musical performance coming up. Don't go anywhere." But people did go somewhere. Online. Within minutes, clips of the exchange hit social media. The raw feed, captured by audience members on phones, showed the entire moment, no edits, no studio cuts. The hashtag Wahlberg walks out began trending on X, formerly Twitter, while YouTube thumbnails exploded with titles like, Mark Wahlberg destroys Jimmy Fallon live, and, Fallon loses control, Wahlberg calls out fake TV. Comment sections were split. Some called Mark unprofessional and arrogant. Others praised him for saying what many had thought about the late-night formula for years. At least someone said it. One post read, "Late night hasn't been real in decades." By midnight, Fallon's team had issued a statement. Tonight's show took an unexpected turn. While we always strive to create a fun and respectful environment, sometimes things don't go as planned. We wish Mark the best and support his continued success. But the damage was done. The rawness of the exchange made headlines. Think pieces poured in. Some called it a publicity stunt, others a real-time breakdown of celebrity culture. As for Wahlberg, he posted an Instagram story later that night, just a black screen with white text. I said what I said. That stage isn't real. I am. And for the first time in a long while, people were actually talking about a late night show again, not because it was funny, but because it felt real.